How do you schedule anything as a homeschooling mom while working? And is that even possible? Yes, 100% it is, but the first thing you need to do is de-school your brain. Your home is not a school, but the world is your classroom. That's the mentality most people should have, but instead we think that school and classrooms only happen in one place and in the rest of the world there's no learning. Even though we as adults are learning every single day, we forget that it's possible to learn outside of a classroom. And a lot of our learning is done in a pretty unstructured kind of way. Reading a book, looking something up, evaluating something, talking to other people, discussing things, talking to people who are not like you is one of the best ways to learn things. That is a classroom. Well, if that's a classroom for adults, how can we mimic that for kids while still giving them some kind of structure that you can follow along to make sure they're advancing? And this is where the perk of homeschooling comes in. The first thing you do is you look up the laws in your state. You see what you need to do in order to be compliant in your state. Some are more rigid, like New York has specific things you must do. Then other ones are flexible, and as long as your child's advancing, you're fine. Once you figure out where the metrics are, you know where your goal has to be during the entire year. So let's say you have a certain amount of hours that they need to be learning something. That doesn't mean a certain amount of hours you need to be sitting at a table discussing something in a textbook. It means a certain amount of hours you need to cover that subject. You can take this more loosely, is wildcrat science? I would say so. Is reading a biography both reading and history? I would say so. So on and so forth. So now that you know a little bit about what you have to do during that year, how do you actually get that done schedule-wise? I'm in tech sales, I work from home, so I am here the majority of the time unless I'm traveling to clients or events. My basic schedule for my children is this. You need to read 2 chapters in a book every single day. You need to do 1 math lesson, 1 science lesson, 1 history lesson. Beyond that, anything that you want to chase down and enjoy, feel free to. And I don't limit screen time, because this next generation of kids are growing up in a screen-saturated society. Our job is not to limit it for them, our job is to teach them how to govern it themselves. It only takes a few days of them sitting down watching screens all day long until they're finally like, you know what, I got a headache, I'm gonna go do something else. They start to figure out on their own that it doesn't feel good to do that. That's obviously for all kids over the reading age. Prior to the reading age, your only job is to learn how to read. And until you're a fluent reader, all of your math is mental math, us discussing math, doing math in daily life. I'll talk more about that in another video. Basically, until 3rd grade, most of our math is verbal, because I want your math skills like lightning. For some of my kids, I have to remind them every single day. Other kids, I can give them all their schoolwork on a Monday, and I'll talk to them again on Friday. Checking in a couple of times throughout the week. Anything you want to discuss? And then at the end of the week, they tell me everything that they learned. Rather than writing reports, I want them to discuss things with me. And what I'm listening for is them to give me a beginning, a middle, and an end, and some talking points to be able to further what they've learned. Because once you've developed that skill verbally, it's a lot easier to put it onto paper once you're in high school. It builds the muscle memory of how to build the framework of a paper. As you can see, a vast majority of this is done independently, because I want them to own their education, which also allows me plenty of time to be able to work. Childcare while I'm working, but they can text me. Some of them sit quietly in my office and get stuff done. Ultimately, do what's right for you.